Vedant, and welcome to season 5 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Dr. Kate Hartcher, the senior animal scientist at Global Food Partners, or GFP, where she helps egg producers transit from cage to cage-free egg production. Kate has a PhD in layer hen behavior and welfare. Prior to working with GFP, Kate worked with the RSPCA Australia. She is also an adjunct lecturer at the University of Queensland. Hi, Kate. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Vedant. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm honored to be a guest on your long-running show.
Yeah, this will be really exciting. I've interviewed loads of people from GFP.
Yeah, I heard that you interviewed Alyssa and Jayasima.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So, Kate, you're an animal scientist. I'm curious to know, what does an animal scientist do?
It's funny, actually, when I tell people that I'm an animal scientist, often they think about a person in a laboratory, like experimenting on animals. And I don't do that. I did some research years ago, but I wasn't in a laboratory and I didn't hurt any animals. So the work that I do is mostly giving advice now. So that means I use the latest available science and what we know about the industry, that the animals are kept in, to make sure that our organization, GFP, our activities are evidence-based. So I help on some research projects and investigate how we can treat animals better. And I also let GFP know basically what the science says and what the industry practices are so that we can help the animals as best we can.
That might be a very fun job. You get to research so many fun things.
Yeah, it is. I really enjoy the research, actually.
Yeah. Of all the animals, why did you choose to study about egg-laying hens?
That's a really good question. And chickens might not seem like a very interesting animal to lots of people. To be honest, I got involved kind of by chance as well. So I became interested in and passionate about farm animals' lives when I was in school. I learned about how some of them can be treated very badly on farms and in slaughterhouses, and I really wanted to help when I was older. And previously, I did work placements with other types of animals. So I did a work placement with sea turtles and conservation in sea turtles. So we helped to move their eggs to safer locations that wouldn't get eaten by foxes. And we studied their behavior with nesting and their hatchlings, so their babies. And I did some work at an animal shelter with dogs. I worked at a university. These are all work placements investigating causes of diseases. I worked with wildlife at Sydney Wildlife World with native animals like wombats, kangaroos, and owls. And when I was finishing my undergraduate degree, I was choosing my research project for my honours. And I was asking about projects on farm animals because I knew that that's what I wanted to work in. There was one on pigs and there was one on chickens. And the one on the chickens just suited me best. Since my PhD, I've done some other work, like teaching at the university on biology and statistics, but most of my work has focused on farm animals and particularly chickens. But I do have to say I'm very glad for this, and I'm very passionate about my field of work. There are more chickens than any other animals in the world, or land animals at least, not including insects. And they do need our help. So I'm very glad that after all of that, I did decide to work with chickens.
In Singapore, if you go to a park or even if you're just walking in some streets, like not the main city streets, but outside of the city, you can see chickens just walking next to you on the sidewalk.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Never seen that here.
Yeah. Even in the parks, you just see chickens strolling around.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's really, and they don't bite out. They just mind their own business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you hear them in the mornings? Do they crow like the roosters to wake you up?
I haven't heard anything, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Why and when did people start raising hens in cages?
Basically, it was about 70 or so years ago. And people just realized that if they bred the chickens to lay lots and lots of eggs and they put them in cages, they could just get lots of eggs really easily because the chickens were living in cages and they weren't moving around and they didn't have to go and collect their eggs from different places or try to manage the chickens. They just were sitting there in the cages. So they basically decided that it would be easier to just put them in small cages.
So is that where the idea of battery cages came from?
Yeah, exactly. So those were battery cages. Sometimes they're called conventional cages, but they're just very small little structures and people put lots of hens in them. So they don't have much space to move around. And there's nothing really to do in the cages. There's just feed and water that throughout the feed is sort of in a trough outside the cage. So that hens sort of stick their heads out of the cage and that's basically all there is to do. So it doesn't sound like a very interesting life for them, but yeah, that's where battery cages started to be used. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. It's not a nice way to if you had a pet chicken, you probably wouldn't put it in a tiny cage like that, would you?
I wouldn't. If
No.
I had a pet chicken, I would probably rip the sofa up into pieces.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of suffering do hens go through in those tiny little cages?
Yeah. Well, since, like I said, there's nothing in the cage, there's some water and, some food, but nothing else. And they don't have much space to move. So they just really, it's barren and they really don't have enough space to move around properly. So they can't walk around and explore their environment. They don't have anything to, peck at, to explore. They can't perform their normal behaviors. Like they really don't have enough room to move, to turn around or to flap their wings like a normal chicken. So it's quite boring. And they also, because they can't move around much, they get very weak. So their muscles are very weak and their bones are very weak. Sometimes, well, a lot of the time their bones can break as well. So it's just a very boring life, really. And, if you can imagine living in a cage your whole life, there's not many good experiences that they can have. So, it's essentially just quite a boring, sad existence.
Yeah. But if a human gets put in a cage, which is basically prison, you still have space to move around.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the size, really. Exactly. Like the poor chickens just don't have enough space to even, lift up their wings properly. So it's, not very nice.
What are you doing to help these hens?
So I know that you know lots about Global Food Partners already, and you've spoken to a couple of us already. So you know that we do a lot of work helping farmers in Asia to learn about how to keep hens better. So we teach them about what good farms are like and how to treat the hens. And we also let companies know that they need to buy eggs from higher welfare farms, so better farms that are doing the right thing. And through my work as the scientist, and something that I've done previously is an important thing is to raise awareness. So really help the farmers, and they want to do the right thing, help them learn how to manage their farms, how to run the farms well, to make sure that the chickens are well looked after. And it's also good for people who are buying eggs to understand what they can do to buy higher welfare products, and also just other people like researchers or other people in industries like food companies buying eggs. So we do a lot of work to let people know basically what they can do better. And like I mentioned as well, one of my roles is to do some research to understand how the hens are treated at the moment, and also what they need, so that we can make sure that we provide it.
Is there a big issue with the way we raise these hens?
Yeah, so on cage farms, they, like I said, they don't have much room to move around, and they have lots of health and behavioral issues from that. But also on cage-free farms, people are still learning how to do it properly, because, like, they haven't done it for a long time, or the farms are so big that they're still learning about the farms. So we help them understand the chicken's behavior, certain diseases that they might get, how to get good egg production on these cage-free farms. So we're really helping them to understand the chickens and understand the farms better, so that they can have high welfare farms.
What about other animals? What are the problems with how we raise other animals for food?
Another really common farm animal that also needs help is the pig. So pigs are very intelligent, and they're often kept similarly in very barren environments. So they don't have really things to keep them interested or to explore. And they can also have injuries and have quite stressful times during their lives. So this is just one example, but there's lots of other animals that need the opportunity for better lives. So cows, fish, and basically any animal that we as a society raise for food. There's welfare issues in all industries that can be improved, and of course, different farmers do things differently, and some are quite good and they want to do things better. And then other farms, things might not be as good on those farms. So there's lots of different animals, and we sort of do our best and try and, like I said, with chickens, there's so many of them that really need help. So we're focusing on chickens right now, but so many other animals like those other ones also have issues in their lives.
I feel really bad for all the animals like cows, pig, fish, chicken, who have to go through all those things like sitting in cages just so that humans can get food.
Yeah, it is quite sad. So hopefully in future we can learn how to do it better, and people can treat them better and have better food.
I've always had this question. Why do we need to kill animals for food or raise them in such horrible ways if we have so many plants that give us food like berries and rice and all of those stuff? Why do we need to kill animals?
Yeah, and there are lots of people that live perfectly healthily without any animal products. But there are a lot of other people that do like to eat animals, and something that's happening more and more is companies producing meat without animals as well. So meat that's made from vegetables, or meat that's made from animal cells. So there's no actual animals that are farmed. And it seems like that will happen more and more. So my husband, Dean, that you spoke to on one of your earlier seasons, he works for GFI. So we're helping to develop those industries. And that's an exciting area, so that, we can help people that want animal products to still get those products, but they don't need to hurt the animals to get them.
Yeah. And also, like you said, eating animals can get you a bit sick. Because if you eat plants, I think you have like a better chance of being healthy, right?
I mean, there's food safety issues with animal products, definitely. So people need to be careful about the animal products that they eat, and eating them properly, not eating too much of the animal products as well, because in some countries people just eat a lot of animal products, which probably isn't a good thing, and leads to so many animals in these farms and in these industries that are quite intensified now.
What can my listeners and also me, what can we do to help animals and hens and other things?
Yeah, that's a really good question and something that we were just talking about. So I think something that's important is for people to learn about the different types of products, so the different brands that are selling the animal products that they like, and try and choose products to buy that have good welfare and good conditions on the farm. So sometimes this means that the product is approved by a welfare organization, or it might be cage-free, things like that. And I think it's also good to keep up to date with, local animal welfare groups. Sometimes they will say, please write to your politician or a newspaper about this particular issue. And it can be good to keep informed, to learn about what we can do in our different countries and our different areas for animals. And definitely in Australia, maybe not so much in Singapore, another way people that are just choosing to help is to have their own backyard chickens. So they don't want to necessarily buy eggs anymore. So they have chickens in their backyard for eggs. So I don't have that, but some people are choosing to do that more and more here.
What did you want to be as a child?
When I was younger, it's quite different actually, but I really loved art, and I think I wanted to be an artist. I love art and creative things. So I ended up choosing animal science because I did like science also while I was growing up, and thought that it would be a way that I could contribute to helping animals. But I do really like art, and I should do art, separately as a hobby, because I think that's what I thought that I could be when I grew up.
And what made you choose to study animal science?
Well, it's not really something that I was planning on doing. I knew I wanted to help farm animals, but I didn't know how. And I was always quite interested in science and good at science in school. So I thought that could be a way that I helped animals. So other people choose to make documentaries or study law like your dad did. But for myself, I thought I would do science. So and then I studied more and did research afterwards to become more involved in the issue. And so that's where I am today, rather than being an artist.
What are your hobbies?
Well, I'm lucky enough to live near the ocean, and I love swimming in the ocean. So I do that quite a lot. I also do some yoga, and I have a lovely a greyhound. She's rescued from the greyhound racing industry. So I take her on walks, and I like to pat her and be with her. And I love to socialize and see my friends. Those are my main hobbies.
Swimming in the ocean sounds pretty fun. I love swimming too, but I haven't yet done it in the ocean.
Oh, you'll have to come visit Sydney. I can take you to the ocean. It's beautiful. Lots of fish to look at.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Definitely. Great. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
It was my pleasure, Vedanth. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedant, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedant wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on CuriousVedant.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedant, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.